But yeah, politics in particular, of course, at the moment, is very interesting. So,
are you allowed to tell us who you're sort of siding with, or?
I'm sort of a bit of a lefty, so I'm kind of, at the minute perhaps Labour, but we'll wait and see what people have got to say.
As we're a station, I know we have to be partial,
of course,
just to throw that out.
Yeah. Well, we hear you. We hear you. All right, cool. So, with regards to young entrepreneurs,
of course. Yeah.
How easy or difficult was it for you to take on this subject matter?
Well, it was. I mean, doing London 360, we're kind of doing a lot of things that lots of young entrepreneurs are doing. We're going out and pitching our own stories and going and filming and conducting our own interviews and doing our own PR and stuff. So in a sense, I can kind of identify with what they go through.
Yeah.
But reaching out to people and asking if they wanted to be involved in what we were doing was they were really receptive to it, and it was really great. And they provided some really great interviews, and they were really helpful. It was really interesting actually to see what inspired them to get into their entrepreneurial kind of avenues and how they found starting and running their own businesses and social enterprises, and what advice they have for other people who want to get into business. So it was a really, really great thing to do.
Cool.
Did it make you want to turn around and start up your own thing, be like a young apprentice? I mean, you are sort of in a way,
in a sense,
what you're doing at the moment is,
journalistically, perhaps yes, it made me sort of maybe less kind of hesitant about kind of a freelance route. I would still think perhaps prefer to work for more of an organisation like a production company or something.
Yeah.
But no, it gives you some ideas, and it gives you the kind of if people can do it, then I can do it. There's lots of great advice out there. So.
Yeah. I think it's very easy to be comfortable in a big business, and I only say that because obviously at the end of the day you're going to be paid.
Yeah, there's a pay packet guarantee at the end of every month.
Yeah, it might not be that glamorous, but it is what it is. So I really, really respect people, especially young people who kind of go out there, do the freelance, and maybe they've been with the big dogs, but they're like a small fish, in a massive ocean or whatever you want to call it. So sure. I think it's good. All right, cool. So if you would just like to introduce your radio package for the people.
Sure, okay, well, yep. So you had to hear the Young Entrepreneurs package. It features kind of some sort of people you might have heard of before and others you wouldn't have done, people from sort of different kinds of backgrounds and who took sort of various different avenues to get where they are, and I think you'll find it really interesting, I hope.
Yeah.
The economy is growing, but young people are 3 times more likely to be unemployed than the rest of the population. To combat this, many young people are opting to start their own businesses. Young entrepreneurs continue to blaze a trail in innovation, from revolutionising the way we communicate to informing the way we dress and consume media. Hip-hop artists have also long been associated with entrepreneurial success.
Wow. Man, that was definitely like really insightful, really packed with information in there, man.
Thanks a lot, cheers.
So tell us a little bit more about your experiences with that.
Sure. Well, I mean, the most recent government statistics about kind of youth unemployment show that about 740,000 16 to 24-year-olds are either unemployed and out of work.
Yeah. Say that one more time.
Sorry, yeah. So 743,000 16 to 24-year-olds are currently either not in work, or not in full-time education.
My God.
And that's kind of quite a shocking statistic. And despite the fact that kind of more people than ever are going to university, and there are lots of apprenticeships out there, which I think is a really great thing. The graduate marketplace is still very kind of oversaturated, and it's sort of it's a difficult sort of market out there for people to kind of get in and get on and work. The Prince's Trust, obviously kind of a great organisation who've been around for like the last sort of 30 odd years. They run an enterprise program, and I was like a couple of years ago, they sort of mentioned that only 5% of young people at that time were self-employed, but a quarter of them said they wanted to kind of go into business and become their own boss, basically. So I think there has been this steady trend. I think about like 71,000 young people they identified since the crash, since 2008, have gone on to become entrepreneurs and their own boss. So I think there's a real appetite and hunger there for young people to go and do it. Yeah,
there's a lot of startups as well. Like me,
totally,
when I finished uni like 2 years ago, the first thing I did was get involved in a startup. And the bosses, they weren't necessarily old. These were 30-year-olds. So they're just kind of, maybe they've put together like a bit of money, they've got investors, and they're just going for it, and they had great idea, and it was about an app as well. So what was really interesting about the stop and search app. Like
Sure.
that really was interesting, because obviously what he's done in particular is he's looked at the market and he's looked at an issue as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of great social enterprises do. I think obviously there are some that go out there and they're intended to make money, but I think with Aaron's thing in particular, the stop and search app, is it's at the forefront of what it's intended to do is to sort of tackle a community and societal issue. Yeah, which I think is why it makes it quite an inspiring sort of thing to sort of do. Yeah. But with his sort of thing, I mean, obviously. Initially, it's not kind of something that's going to make a lot of money straight away, so he's kind of relying on grants.
Which is always the...
Yeah.
Some places like the Joseph Roundtree Reform Trust, for example, there are loads of places out there who look to kind of fund these sort of projects that young people put on. So don't be disheartened straight away if your idea is not something that's going to immediately generate revenue. I mean, there are people out there who will help you.
And what do you think about finding those gaps? Because, like people say, there is literally an app for everything. So what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs or people that are not trying to find a problem, because I know that's what business is about, like trying to, my shoes don't fit, blah, 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 I've got this for it. So how do you come up with an idea to... Well,
it is kind of $1 million question in a way. I mean, I think what you can sort of do looking around you is, again, these words, sort of startup and self-starter, content provider, these things are kind of much more kind of commonly used now, and I think it's just because there are so many people. I mean, look at YouTube stars, for example. There are so many people just getting stuff out there. So much in a way, much like the graduate market, it's kind of very saturated at places. But again, a good idea will always kind of win the day, I think. So just look around you, sort of, as Emma Jane and Vivian said from Squid London there, who you heard, do your market research, really sort of put your tendrils out there and think, well, what do people want? I mean, they went down to Spitalfields Market with their umbrellas, their first idea, these umbrellas that change colour in the rain. And they wanted to test it out and see, are people receptive to this? Do they want it? And they sold out, I think, in like 11 days. That gave them the confidence to go on. So, and again, to sort of echo what Aaron said, you might come up with an idea initially and it doesn't sort of take off. But learn from it and take it on to your next project. I think that's really important as well. So they're the two things. It's sort of being persistent, knowing what you want to achieve and whether it's achievable, and not being disheartened if it's the case that it's not. And from those lessons, you will then be able to come up with that killer idea to kind of take you that next step.
To elevate.
Absolutely, yeah, I think so.
And do you know the great thing as well? It's like, even, apps, well, not just apps, but websites like MySpace, Bebo, those were the big sites that everyone thought were going to be there forever, and look what's happened. It's completely changed.
And I'm sure we all think about that about Facebook and Twitter. I mean, with something like Twitter, I sort of think that's got a lot of staying power, I think. But again, new ones come all the time. You've got whatever. Let me think of something. Throw some apps at me. What kind of stuff are you using?
Instagram, Shazam, Snapchat,
stuff like that. But I've got some feedback based on the question, because of course, with this being Say Something UK, like a little section in which we kind of get you, the listeners, to really think about what it is we are talking about. You said to the people, if you had an unlimited budget and infinite resources, what would you create and why? So once again,
such a good question.
If you had an unlimited budget and infinite resources, what would you create and why? Shout out to Romario. He said, I'd create an AI, artificial intelligence, which would control a robot army to manage and look after the race and planet, since we are obviously dumb and too egotistical to do it ourselves.
Sounds like a smart man there.
Yeah. That's a bit scary. I think that's
as long as there's no ghost in the machine, I'm sure it's all right. But make sure that they're all friendly. And
exactly, iRobot business.
We rely on tech so much for everything. Like, I wouldn't be able to do my job without the internet. And that's sort of scary. Like, whenever it shuts down, it's like, how do you think on your feet to do something about it?
Exactly. Do you have the other one?
Yeah, so Jesse WJG says, so many things, ! A charity to advocate for endangered species and help them not to be so endangered. Number 2, stop pollution. Number 3, give all the kids all over the world access to food and good education to build a future generation that can sustain.
Wow.
So some idealistic ideas there. That's great.
I love that, though. Yeah, those are always the things that we want to do, like end world hunger, end world starvation, and
For sure, man. So, where could the people find you as well?
You can catch us Monday nights at 7 on the community channel, London 360. You can follow us at Twitter at London_360. Awesome. And you can follow me as well if you want at Drew McG49 on Twitter too. So
McG,
yeah.
McG.
Very cool.
I'm joking.
yeah.
G McGG OG Triple OG. Nah,
about
I'm
to drop a
confusing the people
mixtape.
right there.
London 360.
Man, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you for doing that feature.
Yeah, cheers. Well, thanks for having us. Thanks.
And once again, shout out to London 360. Keep them coming, man.
Yeah,
keep
we love you.
got-
Honestly, your
got
team is so cool. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's going to be real big. If you like this section, then make sure to get us at UK FULLSTOP on everything, or London 360 or London_360 on Twitter as well.
This is UK FULLSTOP, playing the greatest to the latest in UK urban culture. Thursdays, 10 p.m. to midnight on West Side Radio.